and welcome back to my channel. If you guys have been following me for a while, you'll know that I am a huge fan of organising, and for the better part of 2 years I've been planning, building and moving into our dream home. So when it came to furnishing and organising the whole thing, I was in my element. Even though it was such a big job, I have really enjoyed the whole process, and I've tried to come up with ways of furnishing and organising that is practical and budget friendly as well. So I literally have an entire house worth of these videos to share with you guys, and I'm going to be kicking it off with this large space towards the rear of the lower level of the house. So this room was a little bit of a tough one. We had a lot of options in terms of what we wanted to turn it into. We could have had like a children's playroom, we could have done like an older games room with a pool table and a bar, we could have done a formal dining room, an open living room, or we could have even closed it in and done a completely dark media room. In the interest of keeping our house really bright and open and really open plan, we decided not to close it in, but we still really did want to do a media room. Growing up, watching movies was something that my brothers and I were always very into, and it was a way for us to sort of chill out and bond together. And my parents always spent a lot of money on their media rooms. Like, I'm talking about tens and thousands of dollars on things like projector screens, TVs, like your external media devices, surround sound speakers. It really did add up, but it was well worth all of the bonding that we did as kids. And James is very much the same. He really is quite the movie fanatic, so it's only natural that our kids are really into it as well. And now that we've gotten really busy with like school runs and all of the extracurricular activities and everything that goes on in life, I feel like we really do need those days where we just come home, get the snacks on, grab a blanket and just cuddle in together and watch a good movie. There really is, in my mind, like nothing better than just chilling out and snuggling together. So we wanted a space where we could really do that on the regular. Having said that, not everyone can afford to spend tens of thousands of dollars on a media room. So I decided to try and see if I could suss out some budget-friendly options. For me, I decided to start out with a $2,000 budget, and I wasn't entirely sure if I was going to make it happen for that, but I thought I would give it the old college try. So to start kitting out our media room, I thought I would start with the biggest purchase, and obviously that is going to be, for me at least, a TV. We could have gone with a projector screen. My parents always had projector screens and they were great, but once again, that's something that can rack up a lot of money, and if you want a good picture quality, I've always found that like your TVs just give a much sharper image, whereas sometimes projectors can look a little washed out, especially if you're going for a cheaper option. So I wanted to go with a TV, and in terms of finding the right size for the room, I did a little bit of researching. I didn't want to risk having a TV that was so big that it looked silly on the wall and we were craning our necks to watch TV, but I didn't want to risk having a TV that was too small and like we were squinting to see the movie. So I went and did a little bit of research, and a lot of the websites suggested that if you were going for like a 4K TV, you could get away with 1 to 1.5 times the diagonal size of the TV. So most TVs, I think, go in diagonal sizing, like, you know, 60, 65, 70, 75 inches. So it could be 1 to 1.5 times the diagonal size of the TV between the TV itself and the couch space. I don't know if that makes any sense, but hopefully it will in a minute. So we wanted to do a wall-mounted TV. So the space in between the wall and the edge of the couch that we have in the room is 151.5 centimeters. I think that's, is that right? I think that's 385 inches. So dividing that by 1.5, we got a 75-inch TV, which seemed really big for me and gave me a little freak out because I definitely didn't think that we were going to be able to find a decent 75-inch TV in that price range. In my researching, I did come across an Aldi 75-inch TV. It was only $16.99, so just under $1,700, which for my budget was perfect. But I was really worried that a TV for that price was going to be terrible quality. So once again, I did a little bit of research and came across lots of different opinions on the Aldi TVs, but one that stuck out to me in particular was a Gizmodo article where someone was comparing their experience between the 65-inch 4K television, which is just the smaller version of the TV I was looking at, and they compared it to a 65-inch 4K competitor branded TV, which retailed at $9,000. And in the side-by-side images of the picture quality, I could definitely see like differences in the picture quality. but not enough to justify the many thousands of dollars worth of difference. I think I forgot to mention to you guys that the 65-inch Aldi TV was only, what was it? It was only $799. So there's literally $7,200 difference between the two TVs, and in my mind, the picture was definitely not justifiable. So with that, I was like, yep, let's do this. Aldi 75-inch, let's go. I do have to admit though, once we got the box home, I did have a minor freak out. It was, compared to like me, was huge. Like the box was pretty much as tall as me and longer than me. And I was like, it's gonna look ridiculous. Like this is gonna be way too big for our house. There's no way this is gonna look good. It's not gonna work in this space. But James was very quick to remind me that we'd done the calculations. Let's just get it out of the box and have a look at it. When we got it out, I didn't feel too much better, but we decided to install it anyway. And even though the TV does come with legs, I preferred, especially given the size, to mount it right up in the wall. Thankfully, Aldi does have a really well-priced TV bracket. It's only $19.99, and while it doesn't have any swivel options, it is very flush mount towards the wall. I didn't really want a bracket that was going to swivel out with a TV of that size. I just wanted it secured and out of reach of the kids. And given that it was also Aldi brand, I felt confident knowing that it was going to be appropriate for that exact television. And while I'm also usually a very DIY kind of gal, I was really worried about mounting it myself. So I did get my dad to come over and show us how it was done. Surprisingly, it wasn't that bad. It was really just a matter of making sure that you are securing the bracket right into the studs of the wall. These are the timber, what are they called? Pieces that are behind the drywall. If you have like stone or masonry or something else, you'll definitely have to research what the best way to mount your television on your particular wall is. We had drywall, so the studs it was, and also just making sure that you're measuring everything out and making sure it's completely level and at an appropriate height before you go drilling any holes in. We also wanted to make sure that we were feeding our cords back through the wall. Once again, this is something which I was a bit hesitant to do because I hadn't done it before, but once you know what you're doing, it is fairly simple. It's just a matter of drilling a hole in the wall back where the bracket is, feeding the cords through, and then drilling another hole down the bottom of the wall, pulling the cords out and plugging them on in. We had this awesome Ikea cabinetry installed, which I'm going to do an entire separate video on, and so we actually made it so that our power points were inside the cabinetry, so everything just looked really streamlined and really worked together and had that really built-in finish. Once all of our cords are fed through and everything was all in its place, it was time to turn on the TV. And I'm not just saying this, you guys, I was very happily surprised with the image quality. It was really clear. That 4K just makes it look so much better. And while I'd admit that I'm used to watching things like off my phone or an iPad, even compared to our other TVs that we had in the past, I definitely felt that the image was really good quality. So I was definitely happy with that. The sound was not as great. I felt like even though I was hearing everything and everything was clear, it was maybe a little bit too bassy for me. So the sound did seem a little bit muffled here and there. However, this is an easy and cheap fix. Considering we really wanted that media room effect, we wanted to invest in some surround sound speakers. Already we have the Aldi SoundMax 5, which is their Wi-Fi Bluetooth speaker, and we've really enjoyed using that. The sound quality from that was really good. However, it is quite boxy, and I really wanted something that we could have either in the corners of the room, like up towards the ceiling, or we have this window with a ledge on it right behind the couch, and I thought, wouldn't it be great if we could get a sound bar and sit that along the ledge, so when you're sitting on the couch you feel like you're getting that sound, you know, back from behind you. Aldi actually does have a Bluetooth soundbar which had pretty good reviews, and it actually splits in half, so if you like you can actually mount them in your rear corners of your TV or media room. I really, for the moment, rather than having to get Dad back and get ladders and do all of that stuff, I just wanted something that I could put on the ledge, so we went out and got it. The one thing I didn't account for is the fact that it is Bluetooth and the TV not Bluetooth. While it is pretty easy to just use the cords to connect it and have the soundbar beneath the television, I definitely wanted to have something that was out of the way. So I just checked on eBay and luckily found a really cheap Bluetooth transmitter that you could actually plug into the TV so it will connect to those speakers wirelessly. And that was actually only $9.99. So super cheap, affordable option to make your television like Bluetooth capable, even though it would have been easy enough to do it with the cords had I wanted to. Another thing which I didn't quite account for until after we got the TV home was the fact that it's not actually a smart TV. So you can't watch all of your streaming services directly to the TV, which is a bit of a bummer. But with things like Apple TV or Chromecast, you can fix that up pretty easily and pretty cheaply for that matter. I think, I've got it written here, we spent $150 on our Apple TV a couple of years back, so we already had that, and we just plugged it in and away we went with Netflix, YouTube, you name it, we were able to play it through the TV fairly easily. But James has actually been talking about the Chromecast for quite some time now, and I figured we didn't really need one because we already have the Apple TV. But once I started researching into a more cord-free option, I felt like the Chromecast probably was a better option for our family. So I ran out and got one. It was only $48, which is a whole $100, give or take, cheaper than what the Apple TV was, and it pretty much does the same thing, except rather than having like the Apple TV remote, you stream directly from your phone. So provided that you've got like a Netflix, Stan, YouTube, whatever app on your phone, then you just connect your phone via the Chromecast app and then click on whatever app on your phone that you'd like to view, and it comes directly up onto your television screen. There wasn't any issues with like a lag from the phone to the screen, which is something I was originally a little bit worried about. And I was also worried about not being able to use my phone while I was casting from it, but that wasn't an issue either. I was pleasantly surprised to discover that I actually could still do any like YouTube or Facebook browsing or whatever while I was watching something on the TV. So win. So once we had the picture quality, audio quality, and streaming sorted, it was time to have our movie night. Wreck-It Ralph has always been Old Faithful in our household, so we decided we were going to watch that. And the kids and I just ran out to the shop beforehand, grabbed ourselves some snacks, popcorn, drinks, and then pulled our blankies up onto the couch and settled in for a fun family movie night. And I am so glad to say that it was everything we wanted and more. The picture, the audio, just the whole vibe we created was perfect. And in between the cost of the television, the mount, the Chromecasting device, the Bluetooth transmitter, and the speaker, we still came in under budget, which I never thought was gonna happen, but I'm so glad that we were able to do it. So that pretty much sums up this video. I am so sorry that it was so long, but I did want to give you guys as many details as possible. Louis, I want to thank you guys so much for watching today's video. Please hit me up in the comments with your thoughts on the video, what you liked, what you didn't like, if you've bought the Aldi branded TV before and what your experience was like, and if you have any other hot tips on creating a family home media room on a budget. Also, if you want to see more of these videos, make sure to give this a thumbs up, hit subscribe if you want to see more, and other than that, I love you guys and I will see you all for the next one. Bye!